Okay. Let's see. The first thing I need to do is switch this engine version because I just upgraded to 4.16. Okay. I'll be amazed if this compiles the first time. Okay. So, what I think I want to do is do crouching. No, not engine content. External library content. There's already a blend space for crouch. crouch. Because if speed is 0, we don't want to move. Hip, 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 hip. Okay. Okay. And what I might do is I need to come in here and look at these speeds. So I'm saying the base is 300. Okay. So I'm going to put this at 350. T65. That's good. Crouch, walk, forward, rifle, hip. Crouch, walk, backwards, rifle, hip. And then this is left, rifle, hip. And then right, rifle, hip. Yeah, so I'm making this buffer zone right here. Because if character speed varies at all, we just want to have this buffer for a different range of characters. So if some characters move slower, just as a base, if they're wearing heavy armor or something, their walk animation won't look too weird. So just a little buffer. Next thing we need to do is update the anim blueprint. And we want the state machine. And there she blows. Okay, so I think what I'm just going to do first to make this simple is not have any transition states for crouching. So what was it called? Blend space crouch. Yeah, I'm going to rename this to just a crouch. I'm going to change this to stand. Hopefully that didn't break anything. Find reference. Oh, there you go. It updated. Sweet. We'll go back. And then here, blend space crouch. And we already have speed and direction. That makes this a lot easier. I like to have straight lines. Okay. Now we need a transition for this. And it's basically going to be this crouching. If they're crouching, then we're going to go into this state. Easy. Easy enough. Now we got to make sure our code has implemented crouching. So let's first look in the character. Okay, does not look like it. So let's go to the controller. And then we're going to go to input components. Yeah, so we need to make some crouching ones. So start crouch, stop crouch. Then we're going to come here. I like them to be in the same order. Just being anal. Start crouch and then stop crouch. Now we got to implement those methods. Start crouch and stop crouch. Okay, then Excel controller can. So I like to have can classes. Sort of keep my if statements cleaner and more easy to read. None of these actually do anything. They're basically just placeholders because I'm not sure what I want all of the conditions to be right now. As we actually start playing the game, I'll start to decide when you can and can't do certain things. Yeah, so basically right now it just checks to make sure that the pawn is valid so we don't get any null pointer exceptions. So that should be good with that. Make sure they can start crouch. Yeah, I just kind of like how these static classes read. So it says if the XL controller can start crouch. It's a little more readability. Okay, So now the character needs to implement some crouch methods. Stop and start crouch. Okay. Now we got to update the cans for the character. Yeah, I like to think I've made my code very clean and easy to navigate and readable. But as you can kind of see, it comes at a cost. Just to get basic things set up, just a lot of things to update. But hopefully it pays off in the long run. A maintainable code base goes a long way. I'm going to set his state. I'm going to stop the engine to get IntelliSense to work for me. Might just be easier to go look at that enum. This is an action state. Yep, see? I like to keep these in alphabetical order. Okay. Crouching. Okay, so now we set his state to crouching. And you know it's actually funny, these are useless, even in the sprint. They're not doing anything. The movement speed is handled in that movement component that we were in earlier. This also has this useless statement. Yeah, pretty simple function. Benefits of using state pattern. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the default character has a crouch function built in. So we're going to call that. And I'm not entirely sure, but I think this reduces the size of the collision capsule. We can try to peek the definition. Interesting. So yeah, if I actually don't even need to call this, I don't believe, because they're just setting a boolean. I'm using the state pattern, so never mind, I do. So it looks like they might be doing some sort of kind of observer pattern that calls these things when the state changes. So if they're observing that Boolean, to call them when it gets set to adjust the height of the collision capsule. I think that is correct. Okay, but we actually won't be using that Boolean. Should work. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that the atom blueprint is set up correctly. We're going to be looking in the event graph and make sure. Yep. So we got to create a new function. This is set crouching. And this is going to have an input of Excel character. Call this pawn. We're going to get his action state. And if that is equal to crouching, click on it. Then we will set crouching to true. Pretty easy. Let's straighten these connectors out. Straighten connectors. Scoot everything in a little bit. Okay, so this should work now. Oh, you know what we forgot to do though, is to bind the input. So project settings, input, crouch, keyboard, and like every game ever, we're gonna bind it to control. Looks like we have a typo. Copy and paste errors. Get me every time. Alright, let's throw some breakpoints in. What's going on? Okay, so that seems to be working correctly. Setting the action state. Oh, I made this mistake last time when I was doing the aim offset. As a general rule of thumb, it's useful to call functions that you make. Just as a general rule of thumb. There we go. So it looks like we can't uncrouch currently, and that's because in our state machine, we don't have a path to returning from here. So basically, if crouching is false, do they have a not? I think I like that better. And distribute horizontally. Now we should be able to return from crouching. Interesting. Oh, shoot, man. That's going to be a pain in the butt to solve. We'll save that for later. I don't want to deal with that right now. So yeah, looks like crouching is working. It's pretty abrupt though, like I mean I don't know, it's not it's pretty bad. We could look at see if they have any like transition animations. I gotta move my content browser over here. I'm old school Unreal. Crouch to stand, rifle, iron sight. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they do have some. Crouch to stand, rifle, hip. Okay. So okay. So what we're wanting to do now is we're going to make a 1D blend space. Let's come in here, it's easier. And the animation, well, a 2D blend space might actually be better. Yeah. Blend space, crouch. Horizontal, vertical. So this is going to be this is going to be direction. And we want this to be speed. What direction are these oriented? It goes negative to positive, okay. And then speed. Now this is crouch to stand. Crouch to stand, rifle hip. rifle hip, rifle hip, rifle hip, rifle hip, rifle hip. Okay. So these are going to be what are they called? Jog is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so now jog forward, jog backwards, jog left, jog right. Now, if they're moving full speed, we're going to actually want to throw these up here. Because they will be moving movement component. The crouch movement speed is 200. But as soon as they uncrouch, their speed's going to jump up to 300. So this is what the uncrouch is going to look like. We may increase this a little bit more to like 400. We'll try that out. I'm thinking we'll adjust it some more, but let's get it hooked up. Okay. I'm not 100% sure this is going to work. So if crouching, and then this one is crouching not. Now this thing is going to be a yikes. Crouch to stand. Get the crossfade duration of a specific transition. BS crouch to stand. Yeah, that's actually what I wanted. If it's less than or equal to 0.01, I don't know. What are these other values being set at? 0.2. Huh. If I go to crouch to stand, this whole animation is 0.6 seconds. 0.2 is probably a decent value. 0.01 is way too little. I have to say, I did not think that they would have this method for a blend space. I'm glad they do. So let's also create the stand to crouch blend space. Similar concept. We're going to do stand underscore to stand to crouch rifle hip. Crouch, walk backwards. Crouch, walk forward. No. Wrong one. Crouch, walk forward, rifle hip. Crouch, walk left, rifle hip. It's Just make sure these are all the right ones. Okay, so now there we go. Wondering why I wasn't playing. Yeah, so the idea of what we're doing is just trying to smooth out that crouch animation so it doesn't look so abrupt. And then this is going to need a transition, which is going to be BS time remaining stand to crouch if it is less than or equal to 0.2. Then you can transition. Not seeing much, huh? We can try something like this. This might be the issue, is that it's not enough time. It's ending too soon. Not giving you a chance to really see the animation play. No, that is 100% not working. Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice if it had some sort of delay. Because I think, yeah, this time remaining is not working. I'm thinking that that's the issue. So I'll look into that and see if there's a way I can just get time in a relatively easy and clean fashion. And I'll let you know if I find something. But the goal tonight was to implement crouching, and you can now crouch and walk around. And a bug, though, is if you try to aim down the sight, it makes your guy stand up. Which is actually pretty interesting. How come? Yeah, it's very interesting. Because of the aim space or the aim offset. But it's interesting how the normal aim offset. You know what? I bet it has something to do. How come the aim offsets? This one. No, that's not what I'm looking for. If I come to the hip one, I forget where I put these every time. I think I put them somewhere weird, like in the meshes. Yeah. The hip aim offset. Well, that is funky. I think this has to be a idle rifle hip. Save. Okay. I wish I could open both these at the same time. But I guess not. So those look the same. Okay. Yeah, so basically I'm just wondering why the one affects the whole body and one only affects the upper body. For the answer to that, I may need to come to here. So we're caching it, then we're using that. Interesting. So it doesn't look like this is targeting the upper body at all. Oh, you know what this actually is an issue with is, haha, this right here. you can't be aiming and crouching. So I need to make a different enum type for aiming, and probably think about what I want to call it. Yeah, I can't go into weapon state because you can be firing and aiming at the same time. I could change this thing of combat state to something, give it a different name. Instead of having it be combat state, you can either have it be holstered, hip, or iron sight. Because you can never be any of those. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I won't have to create a new enum. Probably just rename this so it's a little more descriptive to what it is. The name combat state actually might not be that bad, but I just have to change the name of the enum types. I can do that right now. My spelling sucks, so yeah, I'm gonna holster. Yeah, that's right. Gotta trust myself. Holstered. Maybe call it equipped, and then what's the definition of ready your weapon? Ready your weapon, meaning raise your weapon, prepare your weapon. I'm just wondering if the word ready is a better word for it. You can be aiming, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. You can either be aiming, equipped, or holstered. Change this to here they are. Ugh, dang it. I already forgot what I called it. Equipped. I'm not sure if I like that term, but we'll use it for now. Okay. Character, humanoid, animation. Go. Boom. It's working. It's hard to tell how well it's working. It's a little messed up. That's not terrible. Yeah, we might have to. I mean, if we want it to look really good, we'll have to come into here. Probably do an aim offset for, basically crouching. Add 2 more of these bad boys. It's not going to be pretty, but whatever. We'll figure it out. But I think that's good for tonight. Got crouching knocked out of the way, and next Thursday, tackle something else.